Welcome back to The Explainer. Look, if you're a leader, an entrepreneur, or an executive over 40, and you've been feeling, well, honestly, a little overwhelmed by this absolutely relentless, chaotic AI landscape lately, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're breaking down a seriously fascinating approach to business transformation. We're looking at the work of Lisa Hamilton-Smith. She's an AI strategist who specializes in taking professionals from just feeling overwhelmed and kinda AI curious to being completely, confidently AI-powered. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll establish the credentials of the unconventional strategist behind all of this. Then, we'll look at identity before AI. After that, we'll spend the bulk of our time outlining her highly effective 4-step framework. And finally, proven real-world results.
So, part 1, the unconventional strategist. To truly trust a process, you really have to understand the guide who built it first.
Because, let's be real, if you're going to trust a systemic process, especially something as highly technical and crazy fast as artificial intelligence, you need to know who's steering the ship. And Lisa Hamilton-Smith is definitely not your typical tech developer stuck in a server room somewhere. Her background is brilliantly unconventional. I mean, you don't usually see dressage champion and AI strategist on the exact same resume. She went from equestrian sports to spending years as an Olympic judge, officiating at the Atlanta, Athens, and London Games. Following that incredibly demanding role, she became a certified NLP life coach, actually trained directly in the lineages of Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor, all while founding and hosting the Dream Life podcast. Today, she's an AI strategist. And what's so amazing here is how decades of reading people as a coach and diagnosing complex systems perfectly teed her up to help leaders cut right through the AI noise.
Think about what an Olympic judge actually does. They have to evaluate the absolute highest standard of performance in real time under massive global pressure. It's intense. Just like an Olympic judge assesses excellence, an elite AI strategist assesses an engineer's excellence in business operations. That deep foundation of engineering change and diagnosing excellence, that's exactly what you need to implement AI with real clarity and confidence today.
Which brings us to part 2, identity before AI implementation.
This is the absolute mandatory mindset shift Lisa requires from her clients before they even think about downloading a new software tool or writing a single prompt. See, right now, so many incredibly smart leaders are stuck in this chaotic, AI-curious state. They're overwhelmed, they're forcing actions, hitting these invisible subconscious limits, and honestly, they're suffering badly from shiny object syndrome, chasing every single new AI tool that hits the market. But we want to shift to the optimized AI-powered state. That means self-trust, aligned action, a rock-solid, clear identity, and compounding business results. Closing the gap between those two states, that's the whole point of her Unstoppable You philosophy.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core of her 5 shifts methodology. You don't get results from what you do. You get results from who you are being. It's so true. If you're capable and driven, but your business still feels a bit off, it's usually because your identity just hasn't caught up with the life you're meant to live. A crystal clear vision of your own identity absolutely has to precede AI implementation. Otherwise, the AI is literally just going to amplify your confusion.
All right, let's pivot sharply into part 3, the absolute core of today's explainer, the 4-step framework.
Now that we've got the mindset dialed in, let's look at the exact chronological process Lisa uses to guide over 200 leaders from total confusion to absolute clarity. Here is the roadmap: audit, architect, activate, and accelerate. I really want you to pay close attention to how this unfolds because these are not just isolated random tasks. They're building blocks. Every single step fundamentally relies on the success of the one right before it. Let's break down how this builds, starting with step 1. The audit. This is all about mapping out your current business operations to locate exactly where AI can create the biggest leverage and the fastest wins for you. Lisa often executes this through a super focused 90-minute AI clarity session, which runs at $97. The goal here is incredibly grounded and analytical. We are not guessing here. It's about looking under the hood at the systems you already have and running a diagnostic audit with zero fluff and absolutely no jargon. Okay, so once the audit is done, we roll right into step 2, architect. This phase is where you design a bespoke, totally tailored AI strategy that perfectly aligns with your revenue goals and your team's actual capacity. The really crucial takeaway here, there's absolutely no off-the-shelf advice in this framework. You cannot just copy-paste somebody else's AI strategy. The architecture has to fit your specific industry, your unique goals, and honestly, most importantly, the actual human beings on your team who are going to be executing it.
And then the momentum really picks up in step 3,
activate. This is the roll-up-your-sleeves, hands-on action phase. This is where you actually implement the tools, build out those workflow automations, establish the new processes, create the playbooks, and rigorously train your team to use them. In Lisa's world, this usually takes the shape of a 6-week intensive transformation program. It's that magic moment where the theoretical strategy we designed in Step 2 finally becomes a living, operational reality in your day-to-day business.
Which brings us to peak dynamic energy. Step 4. Accelerate. You've audited, you've designed, and you've activated. Now you focus on ongoing refinement, system expansion, building a true AI-first organization from the top down, and compounding your results over time. This final step, which she often supports through her high-level $24,000 a year executive mastermind, is what genuinely future-proofs you as a leader. It takes all those incredible wins from Step 3 and scales them into long-term, unstoppable business growth.
And that leads us perfectly into Part 4, Proven Real-World Results. Now, what's really interesting about this is seeing the tangible outcomes of following this exact 4-step process.
Because look, a framework is really only as good as the outcomes it produces, right? And these are not just hypothetical pie-in-the-sky projections. Across the board, clients who apply Lisa's full framework see an average of a 3x efficiency gain across their operations. A 3x gain! That is just an enormous multiplier on the time, energy, and resources a business can reclaim.
To put a real-world story to those numbers, let's look at CEO Sarah Kay. She runs a boutique consulting firm. By applying this exact 4-step process, her team successfully automated 40% of their back-office processes in just 90 days. Can you imagine that? And even more importantly, her team finally had actual, concrete clarity on exactly where they should be investing their time and resources next. I think the true value of this framework is that incredibly rare combination of human intuition and technical skill. Mark R., an e-commerce founder, really hit the nail on the head. He said, "Working with Lisa is unlike any advisor I've had. She combines a deep intuition for people with genuine technical knowledge of AI. The results have been transformational." I love that because it perfectly validates why her background as an NLP coach merges so seamlessly and so powerfully with her technical expertise as an AI practitioner.
Plus, this precise combination directly prevents some seriously costly mistakes. Jennifer T., a COO in healthcare services, experienced this firsthand. She noted her ability to see exactly which AI tools will move the needle and which are just shiny distractions saved us months of wasted effort and tens of thousands of dollars. That right there highlights the immense financial and time-saving value of those audit and architect steps. By taking the time to diagnose the system first, they completely avoided the expensive trap of shiny object syndrome.
So what does this all mean for us? Ultimately, the whole shebang comes down to building an unstoppable identity with AI. It's just not enough to swipe your credit card and buy some new software. Combining a clear, confident personal identity with a rigorous, tailored 4-step AI framework, that is the ultimate key to building a business that scales effortlessly and a leadership style that is completely future-proof.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Is your future business going to be built by design or by default? Because you have the opportunity right now to actively choose a structured 4-step path to empowerment, rather than just sitting back and letting the AI revolution completely overwhelm you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay focused, stay curious, and keep learning.